Bill O'Reilly loves talking about the war on Christmas, and he spent the next 7 years ranting about it, despite claiming to have won it both in 2006 and in 2016. During that time, Fox News aired a slobbering segment hooting about the Obama's final Christmas card in office, pointing out that they never once said the word Christmas in all 8 years of holiday cards at the White House, which, if you're referring to the literal card, is technically true. Scandal! But also...
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody!
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
O'Reilly heroically diving in front of the politically correct bullets to shield Christmas like Clint Eastwood in the Line of Fire, a reference I don't get, was enough to convince several major retailers to abandon the phrase Happy Holidays in favor of Merry Christmas the following year. But rich, loudmouth bigots have been using their wealth-conjured platforms to spew incendiary rhetoric about a perceived revolt against Christmas, an historically minor religious holiday given disproportionate significance thanks to a few centuries of shameless capitalism, for at least 100 years now. As detailed by Snopes, the perpetual thorn in the side of the free exchange of ideas, one of the first big mouthpieces loudly decrying the death of Jesus' birthday was Henry Ford, the honorary Nazi who built a bunch of shitty cars that eventually destroyed the American middle class. Ford claimed that Jewish business owners were profiting off of Christmas by including holiday-themed merchandise and displays in their stores, while simultaneously working to destroy the holiday's religious significance, which is a thing that Christians haven't had any trouble doing on their own for the past forever. In a series of rampagingly anti-Semitic pamphlets eventually collected in a book titled The International Jew, the World's Foremost Problem, Ford also claimed that American Jews were involved in a secret conspiracy to abolish public Christmas celebrations of any kind, a claim which, much like President Trump's assertion that Barack Obama never said Merry Christmas while in office, was not based on one single fact. Snopes explains that the likely source of Ford's ire, apart from his all-consuming anti-Semitism, was that the reading of Bible passages in public schools had recently begun to be challenged by the Jewish community as the constitutional violations that they were and continue to be. In the 1950s, the school board in Ossining, New York, reversed its decision to allow a nativity scene to be displayed at a public high school after receiving several letters from people in the community arguing that the scene was a First Amendment violation, as it essentially represented government endorsement of the divine birth of Jesus Christ, which is a thing the government isn't supposed to do. And the baby boomer primordial soup that was post-war America lost its goddamn mind. In an argument that should sound wildly familiar to anyone with a Twitter account, people accused the upholding of the constitutional requirement of the separation of church and state as discrimination and bigotry against Christianity. The cartoonishly right-wing John Birch Society, the Eisenhower-era equivalent of InfoWars, chimed in with the pamphlet entitled There Goes Christmas, in which they claimed that communists were planning on destroying religion in America by replacing department store Christmas decorations with ornaments bearing the flag of the United Nations, an organization they firmly believed was the avatar of the Red Scourge of globalism.
There goes Christmas.
Incidentally, Alex Jones's father was almost definitely a member of the John Birch Society, so that InfoWars comparison was apt. And the first known utterance of the phrase war on Christmas seems to have come from known racist Peter Brimelow, male Brimelow. Brimelow is a former editor at the National Review, a magazine that once accused Barack Obama's parents of being communists because the editorial staff could not conceive of any other reason why a white woman would marry a black man in 1960. I'm not kidding, that's literally what they said. Brimelow launched a website in 1999 called VDARE, which has since been labeled as a white supremacist hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center and as a racist anti-immigrant group by the Anti-Defamation League. Brimelow denies these labels, at the same time as being a man who wrote a book called Alien Nation, Common Sense About America's Immigration Disaster. He also gave a talk at CPAC 2012 entitled The Failure of Multiculturalism, How the Pursuit of Diversity is Weakening the American Identity, that was so racist, the organizers of CPAC pretended not to know who he was. In a post on VDARE in 2000 titled Happy New Year, Brimelow declares that the war against Christmas rages on and rants about how Amazon had sent him a special Happy Holidays link to use to sell books on his terrible racist blog. That Happy Holidays shit didn't sit too well with thoroughly established ethnic hate bazooka Peter Brimelow, so he fired back, asking if they had any links that said Merry Christmas, to which some eager to be helpful Amazon customer service rep, remember this is Amazon 2000, so they still just sell books, regretfully says no, they don't, but that they might in the future. Can you believe it? Brimelow includes the unspeakably offensive inciting email in which an online retailer helpfully provides him a special link to sell his bullshit, and we see that the email opens by asking, "Too early for Jingle Bells?" Jingle Bells is a Christmas carol, Peter, you fucking Hogwarts professor looking twerp. Happy Holidays has been a point of contention each time the war on Christmas flares up in our nation's short and disproportionately racist history. It goes back to Henry Ford's assertion that Happy Holidays was invented as a way for conniving Jews to cash in on sweet Christmas bucks while disparaging Jesus, a Jew, on his birthday, a talking point that still gets repeated to this day. But the fact is, Happy Holidays has been used as a Christmas greeting as early as 1863, which, as you may remember, is a year in which half the country still legally owned slaves. It's just a friggin' thing people say, man, like season's greetings or 'tis the season. They're all marketing slogans because Christmas is a commercial holiday. Merry Christmas is every bit as sacred as part man, part machine, all cop. And despite the cyclical insistence that liberal groups are trying to outlaw public celebrations of Christmas, the only lawsuits the ACLU has filed against Christmas decorations are when religious iconography is displayed in a government building or property, such as a cross atop the official Christmas tree in Kingstown, Indiana. The lawsuit sought to remove the cross, not the tree, because again, the holiday isn't the issue. It's the constitutionally mandated separation of church and state, which means the government can't go around hanging crucifixes because it implies that the government endorses one specific religion over all others, which, if you've been paying attention, 70% Christian, Christmas is the only federally observed religious holiday. It absolutely does. The removal of a nativity scene from a public school pageant is absolutely called for if the pageant is called the Christmas pageant and centers around the Christian holiday while making references to Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, which, apart from falling on the same month, have absolutely nothing to do with Christmas. Prohibiting a church from using a public parking lot to display a nativity scene might seem persnickety to people who have celebrated Christmas their entire lives, but it's absolutely a violation of the Constitution to have explicit religious iconography on government property, and that's what a public parking lot is. Because again, it implies that Christmas and Christianity is the norm. For 70% of the country, that's true. But this country was literally founded on the idea of religious freedom, which means the government is never supposed to take sides, even though it absolutely does all the time, because again, 70%. Only federally observed religious holiday. It's the only one. Don't know what war you people think you're losing. The same people who think these kinds of rulings are ridiculous are the same people who would lose their fucking minds if their kids had to sit through a 2-hour Ramadan pageant. Wow, what a clip that was from the show. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe to this channel as well as our other channel where the full episodes are. It's called Some More News. This is called Some More News Clips, which you know because you just watched it. Anyway,